This is from God's revelation to Urantia. Crystalia, the absolute substance. The most precious crystalline substance in the grand universe is called Crystalia, which is an extremely dense crystal that radiates a shiny mirror-like surface. Crystalia is approximately 7 times harder than carbon-based diamonds found on Urantia. Crystalia is a calcified, time-space conditioned form of absolutum, a quintessentially perfect substance of paradise origin, existing at the center of all things. Crystalia has the greatest sympathetic frequency response of any substance and is more dynamic in usage than any other substance found in the grand universe. Emanating from paradise, the place of its origin, Crystalia is a multidimensional, universal substance and the standard of universal currency. Crystalia is an omnipresent substance, existing in time and space, while simultaneously occupying spatial dimensions in absonite and supermaterial realms. Absonite is those realities that exist between the material and the spiritual. That's my comment. Crystalia is discovered deep in the center core of certain planets, moons, and asteroids. The mining of Crystalia is known as streaming. When searching for Crystalia, high sensitivity, radar-like frequencies are employed to locate the presence of Crystalia, in addition to other indicators which analyze the composition of a vast variety of substances in the subterraneous regions of a planet, including ocean floors and polar caps. Mining Crystalia requires high-energy extraction systems that penetrate deep into a planet's crust. A sympathetic and dissonant composite energy beam, many times more powerful than your 21st century lasers, project concentrated energies which penetrate the planet's surface crust, going far deep into the vicinity of the center core of planets, moons, or asteroids. Wherever Crystalia may be discovered, the excavation conduit is known as the master conduit, which is a narrow channel initially excavated by the beam, which annihilates layers of rock and other terrestrial elements, penetrating thousands of miles deep below the planet's surface, clearing a channel or path. When Crystalia is discovered, the initial mass is known as the mother crystal, which varies in size. Once the mother crystal is located, the diameter of a master conduit is expanded, provided there are no molten subterranean cavities such as volcanoes or geysers, and the expanded conduit becomes known as the master channel. The cutting beam is then intensified to fragment the mother crystal. This powerful excavation beam is many times more powerful than your 21st century laser devices. The cutting power and range of antimatter and anti-gravity extraction technology is far superior to any known mechanical or ballistic mining devices found on Urantia at the time of this presentation. After fragmenting the Crystalia from the mother crystal, the polarity of the energy beam is reversed and the beam now becomes an anti-gravity tractor beam, which is generated to export the dense crystal substance thousands of miles upward through the master channel to the planet's surface. The quality of Crystalia varies and is measured by the depth of the crystal's silvery reflective sheen, which higher reflectivity indicates purity. The highest grade Crystalia is free from any traces of amalgamated iron and other minerals that migrate from a planet's center core and occupy Crystalia's surface. Crystalia is more precious than diamonds and other precious gems such as gold and platinum commonly found on Urantia. Crystalia is typically free from ionized radiation or inherent carbon artifacts and other imperfections. Crystalia is heralded throughout overtime as an essential component of omnicast transmitters, holographic lenses, and widely used in personal virtual communicators. As a lens, Crystalia is capable of amplifying and concentrating high-energy electronic beams to the highest degree. Crystalia is also the most durable anti-friction substance in the universe, and in fabric form, Crystalia is woven into a shiny, pliable fabric with an indelible memory, allowing it to return to its original shape. Crystalia fabric is highly resilient, universal material which certain antimatter, magnetic, and anti-radiation protective garments are composed of. When in contact with H2O, water, Crystalia generates heat. Crystalia is also employed in many absonite systems, such as the memory beds of the sacred Crystalia absonata, where it becomes living data, attaining consciousness as the crystals become charged with and retain life force data and eventually transformed into living entities, embodying experimental memory and becoming eternal living memory banks and a personality data retrieval system. Due to Crystalia's ultra-high resistance to heat, nuclear, and other pervasive forces, Crystalia is used to encapsulate the interiors of the execution chambers of Pantheon. Subatomic traces of Crystalia can be found in every living tissue, including the human brain. Crystalia is indelible and impervious to external elements and forces, being the most frequently responsive substance in the master universe. Crystalia cannot be reduced to an atomic number, or cannot be reduced to an atomic particle or number, nor molecules or shells, for it is an absolute substance in itself with multidimensional occupation. Crystalia has a capability of storing huge amounts of detailed memory, chronologically recording all events of temporal life and surviving the cellular decomposition of the brain subsequent to mortal death. And this is how you get to heaven. Upon natural death, a personalized microscopic fragment of Crystalia harbors the soul, or it's now called the Eno in the language of Jesus, experiential data bank, and is directly accessed by the adjuster, who retrieves all life experience records, and prior to returning to Divinington, the adjuster will enter its mortal subject's chronicles, living data, permanently into the book of life, if survival is attained. In certain instances and prior to archived entry, the adjuster will alternatively submit the mortal's life chronicles directly to the Ancient of Days for review, and whereby the Eno remains a sleeping survivor until the process of survival determination is complete. Under normal circumstances, the Eno of an individual, though departed from its adjuster, is secured by the personal guardian of destiny, or your guardian angel, and hereby the mortal soul and its experimental memory are transformed to an impenetrable, indelible substance, now becoming an immortal Urantia Eno. Subsequent to natural death, and in the event adjuster fusion is attained, a well-established mode of communion transpires between the adjuster and the Eno. The Eno shares with God unique blessings and ultimately the will of the Paradise Trinity. This is indicative of the personal relationship of adjuster fusion and the closest God contact one may achieve in a mortal lifetime, lasting for eternity. A magnificent destiny awaits all who desire it. Although not the absolute essence, Crystalia is the most absolute substance in the grand universe and the standard of universal currency. During the current age, the grand universe is experiencing a surge in Crystalia mining operatives, and many creatures and beings travel from afar in quest of Crystalia. Crystalia has also spurned conditions of greed amongst those who seek to illicitly obtain and barter Crystalia for other possessions in temporal realms. Obtaining material wealth is not a predominant dynamic in absonite realms. The problem rests in a specific gravity of a personality vis-a-vis the center of absolute gravity. Is it God or yourself? It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven, as spoken by Jesus of Nazareth in the Sermon on the Mount. Irrespective of the amounts of material wealth they might possess, beings and creatures of self-serving agendas, deemed eternal transgressors, are denied the right of attainment, rank, or acceptance as universe citizens, and subject to detention with further rehabilitation, denied the right of reaching higher levels of reality occupation, and until successful rehabilitation is attained. In the most unfortunate scenario, final justice will be implemented to one deemed an eternal transgressor, but solely by order of the Ancient of Days, and subsequent to all measures of mercy being unsuccessful and exhausted. The most high courts of universal are overloaded with adjudication of survival issues related to hatred and greed, which are in fact the residuals of the default and rebellion prevalent in your world and throughout your local system.